702.
Health and wellness.
All right, let's now bring in Winile Motshoane, who is a biokineticist, and I'm going to take your calls and your WhatsApps as well. And if you've got questions as well around detoxing, please keep them coming. I'll get my guest here to respond to some of those. Winile, thank you so much for making time for us. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, let's start with just your general thoughts around detox diets, because as you know, in January, a lot of people get into that. Are they a healthy way of resetting your body? Or does it depend on what kind of detox?
I think first we need to understand what detoxing is. So as we eat, as we drink, as we move around, we create, or the body somehow holds on to some toxins in our body. And the process where then you are removing those harmful substances in your body or the waste, that's when you are detoxing. But importantly, the body is meant and is made to do this on its own naturally. So, for instance, we have our livers, it just breaks down all the toxins. That's why when you find people that have been drinking a lot more alcohol, at the end of the day, it's the liver that suffers. So your alcohol, the medication that we take regularly, or any other chemicals, they go straight to the liver, and the liver is made to remove those toxins. And then you have your kidneys that will filter in extra stuff through the urine, where it feels like, okay, what else needs to be removed from here? So that's why you find most people, again, when they've been taking a lot of medication and other things, the two organs that suffer the most will be your liver and your kidney. But then you have your gut, where you go on to remove all the other waste that we know about, where you have your bowel movement, and then you remove those things, and then obviously your lungs and your skin. So we have a system that works already to remove the toxins that are created throughout our daily living.
Well, what are some of the risks though associated with detox plans? What should we be aware of before we start?
So now the problem is when we go and saying I'm detoxing, there are so many things that people are using, trying to remove whatever they think is there. But what I've also noticed, people always confuse detoxing and weight loss, where they're thinking just because they are removing stuff on the system, it's also removing the fat. And detoxing literally just remove the fluids, and those fluids come out then with those substances. So you're asking what methods that people use that we need to be aware of, that could be harmful in what we do. Sometimes what we think we are using could destabilize the system and make the natural process of detoxing also stop. So there you are going on to take the things that you were told, or inject something in your system, or drink something in your system that might not work well with the natural order of how the body detoxes. Okay,
I see. Are there any other best ways though to support our body's natural detox system, that are more effective than these detox plans?
We always talk about lifestyle change. And if you are eating correctly, and eating correctly means, how they say your plate must have so much of carbohydrates, so much of protein, and so much of this. So if you eat enough or healthy enough, and you are taking your fluids enough to flush what is in the system, and you avoid alcohol and you avoid processed foods, your system functions properly. You don't even need to go out of your way to say, I'm going to detox.
Okay. Are there misconceptions though about detox plans? Because I think there are some biggest misconceptions out there. What would you say are some of the concerning ones?
people think once you are detoxing, then you are good to go. Like your system is very clean now. Maybe you are not going to have anything else that is going to mess up with your system. I think there was a story I read not long ago about somebody who decided, I'm going to detox, and that detox took way long. People do go on juicing, saying they're detoxing, and then you start starving your body, or you start going to a point where your system is not getting what it's supposed to get. While you're detoxing, you are not supposed to starve your body of the important nutrients that it still needs. So you have people going on your juice cleanses that you find that is very low on protein, and that then affects how you are using your muscles, or you start losing the muscles, and your blood sugar also gets to spike, because 1 minute you are not eating at all, and the next minute you are taking this juice that is also, it might be sugary, but it's just going to spike your sugar. So you kind of confuse your system, even though you are thinking you are trying to assist it by putting in or not eating as much as you should. But as much as we're telling people that you have to eat a certain way, it is also very important that you're eating right. While you are detoxing, make sure there is proper balance in what you are putting in. Others go to extreme fasting, saying they're detoxing, and we've had people fainting and others, unfortunately, losing their lives because of that. But that also, when you go onto the extreme fasting, you increase your cortisol, which is a stress hormone on your body. And the increase of that cortisol then makes you sit there, and your body is just sitting on this flight or fight mode, because it doesn't understand what is happening. So instead of you actually removing the toxins, you are adding also and aiding in inflaming your body. And that could make things worse for you, and your mood swings, you're thinking you are good, but you're busy overproducing your stress hormones. And you just stay in a state that is not really good for you, and you are not regulating properly.
What about physical activity during the detoxing process? Is that important at all?
So now, what method are you using, though, while you are detoxing? Let's say you are doing your fasting, and your fasting is extreme fasting. Remember, you still need a certain amount of energy to even do any exercise. So while you are there and you are not supplementing your body with enough calories or enough energy, so trying to go to the gym, as much as it might be good, you need to also be mindful of how much of my energy do I even have to take out to the gym, and how long is this fasting for? How long is this process going to go? If you feel good enough and you're feeling like I can push myself enough to just walk, or to do light weights, or to do Pilates or yoga, okay, but be mindful of the fact that you are not, as it is, putting enough in your body for you to take out for a workout.
I've got some calls coming through, WhatsApps as well. If you've got a question around detoxing, maybe you want to find out if the way you've been detoxing is the right way to do it. Maybe you want to share what your experience has been. Give us a call or send a WhatsApp voice note. Let's start with your voice notes.
Oh my God, guys, after 6 weeks of eating, drinking, I think that the word detox just helps our bodies and our minds to go back to its factory setting. So whether it works or not, I think it's mainly psychological. And I think that as long as it's safe, we're in that season.
No, we are, as long as it is safe. And isn't that the important word, right, Winile? Safe.
Yes, that is the key word.
Yeah.
That is absolutely the key word. How do you know then that you are doing it safely? That's why we have dietitians out there, people who know exactly what will be good for you. And Clement, I must say, what works for you won't necessarily work for me because our systems are not the same. But I see, especially at this time of the year, we, as people, we share these ideas and it's like, oh, try this one, it works for me. And then you realize that you actually just went and crumbled everything in your system. Now you have to start all over again.
Yeah, that's something. On the WhatsApp line, Madadla says, Clement, greetings to you and the team. After Christmas festivities, I decided to detox by cutting alcohol. I drink a lot of water. I'm strictly eating a healthy and balanced meals and walking distances to boost my body again. Okay, so that's how Madadla says he's decided to go about it. Here's a voice note that's also come through.
Hello, Clement in the studio. This is Ngema. I want to comment here. I used to suffer a lot with acid reflux, chronic. I was just every day, every time. I wake up in the morning, I'm having acid reflux on an empty stomach. I used to suffer a lot. I tried all the detoxing things. I've used them, but it still did not work. I've tried a lot of things, but still it failed. And then I decided to stop eating in the morning and try to do some fasting. My life changed. I'm okay now. And I'm wondering, why are we not hearing enough of doctors and people encouraging us to fast? Because fasting is very, very, very good. It works. It heals your body. I've seen it in myself. Now I'm eating once a day now, and it's making my mind to be okay and my body to be okay. I don't remember when last I suffered from acid reflux. So I encourage people to fast.
Winile, your thoughts on that?
So with the reflux, it depends on what you are eating. I don't know what he was eating in the mornings. I don't know what was causing him to have the acid reflux. But it's many things that could contribute to that. It could be your slow digestive system. It could be, again, an increased cortisol in the system, like I was saying. And it could also it's those things that could worsen, and it could worsen during a detox when you have those problems. So now on intermittent fasting, and I love that he brought this one up. So intermittent fasting, what it actually does, because I know people do different cycles where some are doing a 8, others are doing a 16 hours. I'm one of those people. I don't eat breakfast. I know this could come as but we are told all the time to eat breakfast. So what it actually does, it improves your insulin sensitivity. When we are eating in the morning, we are stimulating the production or our insulin. But then when you take a little bit of a break, that fasting period, it gives your insulin a break. And then your body finds a way to manage the blood sugar a little bit better. And then when it comes to your metabolic system, you're giving it some form of flexibility where it has a certain time where it's able to use your glucose or your sugar in the system to break down the fat. And then at other points, when you don't have that much sugar in the system, it uses the fat. That's how people manage to keep the weight off longer when they are intermittent fasting, because there is that period where you are not eating. So it forces the body to actually utilize the fat that's already in the system, and people manage to lose a lot more weight. I think with him, I think I mentioned earlier that when it comes to acid reflux, it's also about your digestive system. So when you are fasting intentionally for a certain period, then it gives your digestive system some resting period as well. So you're not constantly eating and it's constantly having to work. And then you'll realize if he also took notice, maybe if he used to be bloated, then he wasn't bloated as much, and that reduces the acid reflux. So yes, I know we don't talk about intermittent fasting enough, but it does play a huge role in how our system functions.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of, because you mentioned sugar earlier, for someone with perhaps a belly fat as a result of consuming lots of sugary stuff, what do you recommend for like a detox of sorts that can help break that fat? Well, as a result of course, the sugar intake.
The voice note that you played, I don't know if a voice note or a message that you played earlier, it was I think you said it's Madala.
Mm-hmm.
He said something about he's detoxing from alcohol and he's eating healthy. So those things, what he's describing actually is how we should be living on a daily basis. So we are not supposed to be consuming alcohol at the amount that we normally do, especially during festive season.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't be eating as much food or alcohol, sugary food as much as we do. So anybody struggling with belly fat, I would say, again, if you are drinking alcohol, cut down on alcohol, cut down on sugary food, cut down on processed sugars. And even, I know most people like bread is the issue because it's like an easily accessible thing that you eat. But if you are going to consume anything and anything at all and not utilize the energy the same way I described earlier, that if you are fasting and you know you're not going to be eating anything and then you don't put anything on your body but you expect to exercise or engage in intense exercises, then it's going to affect you negatively. It's the same way when you're eating too much and you're eating especially all the incorrect food, and then you don't utilize any of the calories you are putting in, then you're definitely going to retain the fat and you're going to gain a lot more weight. So what do we need to do? Make sure that what you are eating is really what you need, because sometimes we eat because it's right there in front of us. So what I would really recommend, if you know you're somebody who likes snacking, make sure you buy your snacks in advance and you make sure you get snacks like your biltong that will supply you and they stay longer in your stomach as well. You feel fuller. So any snacking that is providing you with extra protein, the body manages to keep it longer in the system and you feel like you are full. But if we keep eating anything that comes and somebody walks in the office and they're eating even something we consider good, like an orange, but it's still high in sugar. And then the next one you're eating is just whatever is available that's sugary, that is not really adding any value to your system, then you are in trouble. So just do your best. When I say lifestyle change, don't just do it as I am eating now to make sure that in the next 2 weeks I am eating healthy. Make it a habit to say, do I really need to eat this right now? Is it necessary for my body?
Yeah.
Hi, Clement. Great listening to you, and hello to Winile and the listeners. Mine is very simple and direct. Colon cleansing. We call it colon cleansing now, but when we grew up, back in the day, after such a period of festivities, they would make sure that they give you something, and there was a belief that it sort of prepares you for the year ahead and your system is sort of reset. But also, colon cleansing in the traditional sense, I just need to know from Winile whether it helps rev the engine in the bedroom or not. Thank you. I'll listen.
Winile?
Okay. Wow. All right. So colon cleansing, what it actually does, it just removes the toxin in your system. So the fact that we don't pay attention to is that our system can hold a lot of waste. Like when I say waste, like what you need for your bowel movement. So when you colon cleanse, and people who've done this, whether traditionally or you go to these fancy places now to get it cleansed, it's just that you're removing that waste. So you're cleaning your bacteria, or you're removing some bacterial guts, right? There is really no scientific or proven research that says it would boost with any weight loss or improve energy. I think it's also just a mental state or mental feel that I feel light because I did this. As for whether it improves you in the bedroom, sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But what I can tell you, I think Zulu would say, "Okipe inyongo." I don't know if you can relate to that. When then you feel like you're feeling light, and when you're feeling light, the thing is going for a run and having energy and being intentional about having a fully functional system. So even when you get to the bedroom, you will get there with so much confidence that, you know what, I feel good because I know I did this. So you get there, your level of anxiety is much lower, and you feel equipped, whether it is real or it's just your mental perception. Now that's something that we probably would have to do research on in future.
Yeah. Well, Winile, thank you so much for making time. Winile Motshoane is a biokineticist. It's 3 minutes before 12.